Okay, this video is from the book Medical Reformation by me, Pete Rogers. We're on chapter 36, so this is page 537, 537. We're going to be reading about estrogen, estrogenic chemicals, and especially their relationship to cancer. So estrogen, of course, has a lot of effects. It has effect on the secondary sexual characteristics of a woman, enlargement of the breast, development of the uterus, and the ovaries development, but it also has effect on other things like bone mineralization, and theoretically, of course, it makes sense. She needs more bone mineralization when she's having babies and pregnancies, so she'll have more of those minerals available to give to the baby. In the Victorian age, in the 1800s, it would be the average woman would have 10 pregnancies, so they had a lot of kids. Modern women are very different from their ancestors. They used to have a lot more kids. There was no birth control back in those days, plus people just assumed that was a natural thing to do. Okay, so other things associated with a woman's hormones, elevated levels of estrogen or estrogenic chemicals, which means estrogens that are having chemicals that have an effect on the estrogen receptors but are not the exact same thing as their biological estrogens. Endogenous means to come from the person's own body. Exogenous means to come from without the environment. So endogenous estrogens would be her own estrogen-like chemicals that she makes. Exogenous would be things she's exposed to, either from what she eats or breathes or what she puts on herself, and that gets transdermally absorbed. So increased estrogen levels will increase the risk of having breast cancer. It'll increase the risk of having endometrial cancer. In men, it increases the risk of having prostate cancer. Some things excess estrogen can be associated with is premenstrual syndrome, cramping, vaginal bleeding, increased fibroid tumors in the uterus. My attending used to call those fireballs in the Eucharist, fibrocystic disease of the breast. It can be associated with hypothyroidism, morning sickness, postpartum depression. In a baby exposed to high estrogen levels, they can get hypospadia, a deformity of the penis, undescended testicles. Okay, so where's the interesting stuff? Okay, we talked about this before. A lot of men in the modern world are estrogen overloaded and they look like a pregnant female, even though they call it a beer belly, moobs, or man boobs. I think it's good to call it what it is. Tell them you look like a pregnant female to motivate them. If they think it's just a beer belly, they actually think that's a macho thing, but it's not. A lot of them have gynecomastia, actual breast development. You can see it on a CT scan, CAT scan. Okay, here's figure 36.3, cholesterol and estrogen. So basically, cholesterol is the backbone of estrogen. These are steroid hormones. So cholesterol has four cyclical rings, A, B, C, and D. When it's an estrogen, you'll have this ring being aromatic, meaning that there's 3 double bonds that can resonate amongst these carbons. It's a cyclohexane with 6 carbons, and that makes it quite stable. They'll have a hydroxyl group coming off of there. This combination of an aromatic ring, also called a benzene ring, and a hydroxyl group, this together is called a phenol. In industrial chemical purposes for business, it's a good antimicrobial, so it's very common to put this in a whole bunch of different personal care products and other things. Okay, so it's the A ring that becomes aromatic. That's another way you can remember that. Okay, if you ever hear the words benzyl or phenyl in a word describing its chemical name, it's probably estrogenic. Here's an estrogen-like chemical in the way it binds with the estrogen receptor inside of the human body, and basically it forms a hydrogen bond with it. So anything that's got a phenol group on it is got a good chance to activate the estrogen receptor, and that's why there's so many chemicals that will do it. And in a sense, the estrogen receptor is promiscuous. Evolutionarily, so to speak, it didn't have a lot of competition. There's not a lot of estrogen-like things in the human body, so when something new comes along, a man-made chemical, anything that has a phenol group on it will often bind this estrogen receptor and potentially exert a significant estrogen effect. Okay, and then the other thing too is some people, say, oh, well, regulatory agencies should fix this problem and get rid of this toxic estrogenic chemical, and I always laugh at that. It's a joke. Regulatory agencies will never have any control over these things, and the reason is, here's bisphenol A, used to make hard, transparent plastics. It's got a phenol group on one side, phenol group on the other side. Bis means two things in a molecule that are not touching each other. So bisphenol A means phenol groups on opposite sides of the molecule, and there's 3 carbons in the middle. So what's the point? People said, oh, bisphenol A should be banned. And the company was like, okay, fine, we'll ban it. They just put something else in the center, like a sulfur group, and it's still going to have 2 phenols on it and be highly estrogenic. Excuse me. So that's never going to change. So you might as well just accept the fact that's how it is, and focus on learning what the chemicals are and avoiding them. It's pretty easy to do. All right, here's an example of a dishwasher and laundry detergent estrogenic chemical. It's called nonylphenol. So non, N-O-N means 9, and then it's got a phenol group on it. Here's the phenol group. Here's the 9 carbon molecule attached to it. So I just do my laundry. I don't use any laundry detergent, because you don't want laundry detergent because your skin is designed to keep water out, so you can jump in the pool and not become waterlogged to the ocean. But our skin is primarily lipid chemistry, and in chemistry, like dissolves like. So what that means is estrogen is a lipid chemical, and you put it on your skin, it'll be absorbed transdermally, like dissolves like, and so then it gets into your blood, and it can raise your estrogen levels. I think all these personal care products are really overrated. The only personal care product I use is a transparent bar of soap with as few ingredients as possible. I don't even use shampoo. I just rinse my hair with water. When I do laundry, I don't use any laundry detergent. Okay? And then I made the point that, my wife, in her bathroom, there's like 55 personal care products. And I said to her, it's stupid. Why do you do that? You're rubbing all these estrogenic chemicals on your body. That's not a healthy thing to do. And she's like, oh, you don't understand. A woman would rub SHIT on her face if she thought it would make her more pretty. And I said, well, that's basically what you're doing. And then she says, oh, you're just jealous because you have more wrinkles than me. Right in the center of your forehead, you have a big bitch line, a really big bitch line. She knows how to do those like Botox injections and all that stuff. And she was like a cosmetologist before she became a doctor. So she thinks her wrinkle creams are slowing down her aging. But I think it's kind of a joke. I'm aging much, much better than her because she's not willing to eat the vegan diet. Another thing is red dye number 40 has estrogenic properties. And so a lot of these names, red number 40, it's just a euphemism for a relatively complex chemical, often a industrial petroleum-based chemicals. So like I said, too, the smart move is to become a minimalist. These chemicals are ubiquitous, and especially deodorants are a problem. I'll go into that more later. But again, the smart move is be a minimalist. I don't use any personal care products, just a bar of soap. It's a way to just keep things simple, because I've seen that in my life. A lot of really high achievers were really simple in their personal style and life, and that freed up a lot of time and avoided distractions and helped them. So hope that was helpful. That's the end of part 1 of estrogenic chemicals.